Hey guys, in this video we will see what is assertions. So basically assertions means we check whatever the output our component has is exactly same as we expecting. So for that we have some methods. Jest offer us some methods through which we can check either our output is correct or not. So for that let's go on jest matches list. So when you go on matches of jest, you will see there is a simple example. In this example we having a test where we are checking that this addition having an output of 4 or not. Okay, as this addition will become 4, this test will be passed, but if output is not as expected, this test will fail. So this is how we do assertions. But if we going through this just assertions only, we cannot test our app correctly, because in our app we don't produce output like a 4 or any object. We have a component, we have a DOM representation. So for that our React testing library shipped with a jest-dom. Okay, this is already inbuilt, and if you look into jest-dom, as you can see in this jest-dom library, we go to the documentation, we will find a functions we can use on DOM. So we can check that our DOM is a disabled or enabled, or is it valid, or does it have a class. We have all these methods. We will using it shortly, and the link for this jest-dom I will be provided in the description. So let's check how we can use this jest-dom to check our assertions are working correctly or not. So here is my setup. I having this form component rendered inside this test. I will just change the description. The description I will put is checking assertions. Okay, so in this form, if we look into this form component, we'll find out that we having this h1 example form element. Okay, we also having a label, we having input, and we also having a button. Okay, apart that we having a validations. We will not focus on it much, but let's see, we want to check that whenever we going to render our form component, this example form element is rendering or not. So for that, first of all we will try to grab this element. So in last lectures I have shown you that how can we capture the element. So inside this form component we can go through screen object. We just need to take the screen object from the library, and on the screen we can put a query like get by text. In the get by text we can directly pass this name example form. Control V. Now as we know that this query selector will give us the DOM element which having example form text inside. We can store this text inside one variable. So I will put it inside the text, and now we can do our assertion. So for assertion we first write expect, and inside this expect we pass element we want to check. So we have this element text, so I'll copy this text, put it here, and I'll just check that this element is present inside this document or not. So for that we having this to be in the document method, and this to be in the document method will check if this element which has example form text is present inside the document or not. So if I save this file and I run the test, as you can see this test is got passed. Okay, now let's try to understand it more by making this example wrong. So suppose I'm expecting this form should show example forms. Okay, I have added yes here. Now let's check that this form is as per our expectation or not. So as we can see in the output, it is showing that we having example form as a h1. Basically it is showing all the HTML representation, and it is saying that we don't have example forms here. So like that we have other assertions method also. So if you go into the documentation, you will see we have to be disabled method. So just using this to be disabled method inside our form, we having this button, and if I just put disabled here, and I just save this form. And now let's check for if that button is disabled or not. Now we can get this button by its name. We have a submit as its name, and I just put this here. I will change the name as a button. And now if I put that button inside this expect, and we are expecting that this button is disabled. So for that we are having to be disabled method. If you click on this to be disabled method, we can see all the representation with examples. So I will copy this method and I will put this method here, and now I will check if this button is disabled or not. As our test is passing, that means this button is disabled now. Okay, now what we will do, we will just remove this disabled property and let's see what our test says. So as we saved our test is running and it is showing that it is failed because this button is not disabled. So this is how we have got multiple of methods we can take advantage of while making an assertion. So in upcoming videos we will be writing full-fledged test, so through which whatever the previous lectures we had started to make a sense as a total unit testing. Thank you.